To Reclaim Your Peace with Nature. I'm Stephanie Lindloff, and I am an eco-intuitive coach and gardening guide, and I help busy, anxious women find your peace, reclaim your peace through simple, empowering moments with nature. So glad to have you here today. I know this is a busy time of year, so I am so grateful that you're spending a bit of your time with me here. Glad to have you. So it's episode 56, which blows my mind, honestly. And it is also the new moon today. The new moon is the beginning of the moon cycle. It is the very first phase of the moon. We often think of the full moon as being the beginning, but it's actually the new moon, the dark moon. And this is a beautiful time for new beginnings, to set new intentions, to envision something that you want to bring to fruition. This is the time to plant those seeds of whatever you intend to grow, to experience, to manifest in your life. And it is also, we're coming up on the winter solstice, so it's the last new moon before the winter solstice. So we're in this growing time of darkness, right? I talked about this in the last episode, episode 55. And it is a time to honor the power of darkness, the power of that fertile, rich place that the darkness offers to us. There's so much it's so essential for our growth to have those dark times. So we are going to be talking today about a very simple path to creating greater peace in your life with nature, with Mother Earth. And this path is really at the heart of all of my teachings. And I want to just make it incredibly simple and straight talk so that you can put this into effect right now. And the timing is awesome with the new moon. So this is a perfect time to be sharing this simple 4-step path. I'm going to share that in just a moment. I needed to give a little bit of lead up to it to explain it a bit for you because it is so powerful and I want you to know why. So I'm guessing that you already know that being in nature is incredibly healing on so many levels. And there's been loads of studies done on the scientific and psychological reasons for this. There's very strong science-based evidence that nature is extremely healing for us, like beyond what we can currently understand. And of course, science is focusing on the physiological reasons for this. And the evidence is so strong that doctors in Japan and Canada, and some doctors even in the United States, are starting to prescribe time in nature to their patients to help them with anxiety, depression, with high blood pressure, to help with cancer treatment, to help with cognitive and neurological disorders, to help people recover from surgery, to improve their immune functioning. Even time in nature is linked to improved birth outcomes and more. So there are so many reasons scientifically that we know why nature is so good for us. And that's all fantastic. And there is so much more to this. When you are mindful in nature, you are attuning yourself with the consciousness of the earth, with the consciousness of nature, and the consciousness of the universe. Now, this is a peaceful, higher consciousness, something that we are not necessarily taught, that it's not something that they can, study in a scientific study, and yet it is very, very tangible for anybody that has experienced it. And I hope that you have as well, that deep peace that deep sense of belonging, of interconnection, of interdependence, of a collective consciousness that you can experience when you are intentionally and mindfully connecting with nature. Now, I know that that sounds, whoa, pretty meta here. This is big stuff. So, what does it all mean? It really comes down to recognizing that all aspects of nature have some level of consciousness. Animals, plants, bacteria, the waters, the soils, the atmosphere, all of these aspects of nature are constantly working together. They have evolved together over billions of years. They are consciously working together to create systems and integrations and processes and interrelationships and interdependencies that are all focused on achieving the highest state of health, the highest state of health and fully functioning within the earth. Now, humans have become so disconnected from this system, and we have for, centuries now have been out operating on our own, off to the side, developing technology, focusing on all these, whiz-bang solutions to all of our problems, using our intellects, not using our hearts, not tapping into our intuition, not tapping into the higher level consciousness of the earth and of the universe, in fact. Now, we, of course, are a part of the earth's consciousness, even if we all don't recognize that. We are animals. We are animals. I've told my son this, who is now 6. I've told him this for the last couple of years, and the first time I told him, he's like, "We're not animals. We're not animals." I'm like, "Yes, we are animals." And I think a lot of grown-ups don't recognize that we are animals. We are part of nature. We are nature. We are meant to be part of this beautiful consciousness, this system that operates with fluidity and resilience and evolution and growth. We have disconnected ourselves from that in so many ways, and we are paying the price. You see this in, our climate change and all of the problems that we have created on Earth. And this disconnection not only has created all of those problems for ourselves, which generates, of course, pain and suffering and anxiety and depression and all of these things that we are now looking to nature to help us heal. But we are also we're considering ourselves as being separate. We have forgotten that we are inseparable from this beautiful consciousness that is the earth. And we are suffering as a result. It can be overwhelming to think about this at scale. And, my first career was in environmental restoration. I focused on restoring rivers through removing old, obsolete, and often unsafe dams. Amazing work, powerful work, created such a healthier environment within so many communities. And seeing people return to the rivers, to return to a healthier experience with nature was so inspiring to me, because it showed me how really we are all yearning for this return to being within that flow of earth consciousness, to understanding that we are all part of this system. And that really brought me to the work that I do today, because I know, and I've experienced it myself, and I've seen it in my clients and students, how powerfully healing it is to restore those connections, to restore that relationship with nature, with Mother Earth, with Gaia. Now, it can be overwhelming to think about this at scale, absolutely, because there are just so many, so many things that are broken within our relationship with nature that we really need to just start by focusing with our own personal relationships with nature, with Mother Earth. And that is at the heart of what I teach. So I promised you a simple 4-step path to creating greater peace within your life by connecting with nature. And here it is. This path allows you to tap into earth consciousness, which is deeply peaceful and healing. And this is what it is. Number 1, set the intention that you want to establish a relationship with nature, not just observation or viewing it or talking to it or, interacting with nature, but to have a relationship with nature, because you are meant to have a truly inseparable relationship, a sacred relationship with nature. So, step 1 is to set the intention that you are creating and developing a relationship. Step 2 is to open your heart to the idea that this is a two-way relationship, one that you experience giving and receiving. And this goes beyond just the receiving of the feeling, but it extends to being able to hear what the earth is telling you, what message aspects of nature have for you, from the animals to plants to lichen, stones, waters, soils. Open your heart to the idea that you can hear nature speak to you. And this allows this two-way relationship. It allows you to raise your consciousness to a higher level. And it is a much more peaceful level of consciousness than human beings typically operate with. Step 3 is to simply breathe in that space when you are in that intentional relationship, that two-way relationship with nature. Breathe and approach it with a sense of play. It can be very easy to get super serious and, I got to do this. And boy, I've heard that people can hear plants talk to them. I really want to do it myself. So I'm going to try really hard to do this. That is a surefire way to not only have it not be successful, but to have you disregard it in the future as a possibility because nothing happened or it didn't feel good. So of course you're not going to do it again. If you engage a sense of playfulness with the process, it opens you up to a whole different kind of experience, a whole different style of learning and communicating and relating with whatever aspect of nature you are intending to connect with in that moment. Okay, so step 1 is to set the intention that you are developing a relationship. Step 2 is to approach it with the idea that it is a two-way relationship, that you will be able to receive, that you are communicating with nature. This isn't just a one-way road here. It is going in both directions. Step 3 is to breathe and to come into it with a sense of play. Tap into your inner child that Or see your children, how they're interacting with nature. See how they're experiencing it. Allow yourself to play with the idea that you can hear a bird speak to you, that you can hear the waters speak to you. Approach it with a sense of play. Step 4 is to get into the habit of asking, what wisdom does this aspect of nature have for me today? What wisdom are they offering to me today? This is a powerful question because it starts with the premise that this aspect of nature is deeply wise, because that is the truth. That is the truth. So start with the premise that they have wisdom to share with you. This is such a powerful question to ask. And of course, after you ask the question, you need to pause and listen. Pause and listen and breathe and approach it from that place of play. That's it. That's it. And I know that it's a 4-step simple path. It takes practice because here's the thing. Raising our consciousness outside of our intellect is not something that we are used to doing. We are used to having our brains lead the show. We are not used to tapping into our intuitive guidance, to our intuitive ability to connect with all of these aspects of nature. We're not accustomed to that. So right away, when you're in the midst of this process of connecting with nature, for the purpose of receiving greater peace in your life, you will undoubtedly come up with some mindset blocks, with some obstacles to your thinking. You'll start asking, is this really possible? Is this really the tree speaking to me? Or is it just, my imagination? All of these things will come forward totally normal. It still happens to me, and I've been doing this for several years now, many years. I want you to know that that's normal. It's just your brain talking, because your brain doesn't understand this, not accustomed to this. Your brain didn't learn this. The more you do it, the more you practice this, it is a practice, the more you allow yourself to go through this simple 4-step practice, the more connections you are creating within your brain to understand that this is possible. It is the practice that heightens it, that amplifies it, that strengthens it. It is a relationship that you are building. You can't have a super free-flowing conversation with somebody that you just met. They're not going to be sharing everything about themselves and sharing all of their wisdom for you right out of the box, right? In most cases. I have had some conversations with people on airplanes that it's like, wow, you're really telling me a lot. But usually, we need to establish a relationship to have that ebb and flow. And that is exactly what this requires as well. Now, the more you do it, the more you'll be able to hear the earth, the more you'll be able to hear all of the aspects of nature speaking to you, offering you wisdom, offering you guidance, providing beautiful messages that bring peace to your heart. You are raising your consciousness to the level of the earth's consciousness when you do this. And when you do that, with practice, you are able to tap into that peaceful place faster and faster, more effectively, more easily, so that you can access that peace within the moments that you most need it. Now, again, I want to say that play is key, approaching it from a place of playfulness. Even if it's like, I don't know if this is gonna work, but I'm gonna give it a try. I'm just playing around here. Totally fine. That is a great way to approach it. There have been some really amazing studies done on how the power of play in learning is really phenomenal. There have been, I think the stats that I read or heard was that in a typical traditional learning process where you're learning intellectually, it takes it could take hundreds, if not 1,000 times of doing something to really get it into your memory. Get it into your memory, uh, create those, connections within your brain that allow it to happen. But if you practice with play, if you learn from a place of play and playfulness, you can create those connections so much faster, like 10 times, 20 times of doing it, and you have created a new connection within your brain that allows you to experience this so much more easily, to gain the peace that you are yearning for so much more easily. So once again, I'm going to go through it. The 4 steps are: first, set the intention that you are creating a relationship, that you are developing a beautiful relationship with nature. Step number 2 is to approach it with the idea that it is a two-way relationship, that you are facilitating a two-way, beautiful relationship with nature. Step number 3 is to breathe and be playful. Oh, you want to breathe. Let the air move through you, move your energy through your body, and come into it from a place of play. Step number 4 is to approach this exercise with the question, what wisdom does nature have to share with me today? What wisdom does this river have to share with me today? What wisdom do the clouds have to share with me today? So much power in that question. And then, of course, you need to be still and listen and allow for that wisdom to come to you and be fully integrated within your awareness. So let me know how that goes. I hope that you enjoyed this. I'm excited to hear how this 4-step process changes your life, because I'm telling you, with practice, it will change your life. It'll help you reclaim the peace that you hold within yourself. It'll help you hear your intuition more clearly, and it will bring so much more joy to your life. I also want to end with letting you know that I have a special class coming up for the winter solstice. It is Sowing Seeds of Peace and Hope. We will be meeting via Zoom on December 21st. It's from noon to 1 Central Time. And this is a class to hear the wisdom that seeds have for us at this time of darkness in our year. And also, you will learn how simple it is to sow seeds in the winter to create beautiful native flowers and grasses in the coming year. I would love to have you there. Oh, and if you register, you will also be invited to select a packet of seed that I have lovingly and sustainably harvested from our own native gardens. So if you're interested in learning more about that class, please check out the link in the caption or the description down below. And I would love to see you there and celebrate the winter solstice with this beautiful connection with seeds. It was such a joy to be with you today. I look forward to seeing you again next Tuesday at 2 on YouTube Live. Thanks again. Bye-bye.